What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, checking out a weird deck. Let's go with that. So basically, there's this base deck going around where it's like Halq combo, kind of features a lot of stuff. A lot of it is Scythe, and I kind of took my crack at something like that. This is a 60 card deck, which I don't think I've ever played, honestly, but it's kind of like the ice barrier stuff a little bit. Funny enough, these are both sea serpents, so I was going to go into totally awesome, but you'll see a lot more of the deck, I believe, here. So tons of play starters. I mean, there's like half of the deck is essentially play starters. Playing the punk stuff, so more than anything, this is a Halq deck. A Halq deck that produces 3 negates, maybe more. Okay, so he's going to go for Imperm there. He's got the Waking of the Dragons, kind of interesting. He'll be discarding 1 card during his turn, which could technically come in handy. 2 cards to play around Seek, which I guess isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it does force him to discard something, which he probably doesn't want to do. Okay, so he kind of forces my hand there with the Ghost Ogre. Of course, I have to negate that. He's going to shuffle back the last card in hand, which is obviously an Altergeist monster. But he did get it, and he goes for the Silkwoodes. So I'm going to go ahead and use Dark Ruler no more, go into my Halq combo. So a lot of these are probably going to be surrenders. I don't really know what to call this other than based, because it's just so many different engines. The cool thing is, though, is that they're all 1-card play starters, and of course you're going to play Crossout Designator for such a deck like this. This guy's playing a 60-card Blue Eyes deck. I don't know why you would do that, but okay. It's like a Blue Eyes pile deck, maybe? But that's the advantage of this deck. Now, your opponent will a lot of the times have hand traps, and hopefully you draw into some of these cards, but rest assured, like, I have never opened a hand in this deck where I have not seen a play starter. I also run Pot of Prosperity to double down on such an idea. 3 Emergency Teleport, 3 Almond, 3 Deep Sea Diva, 3 Plague Spreader Zombie. They're all like, that's it. That's the only card you need to see in your hand. Now, Deep Sea Diva, of course, is the best card to have in your hand because of the discard potential, but yeah. And there's lots of, like, this deck is surprisingly resilient. More resilient than you might think. So there goes the Z-Amin. So this combo is, like, it produces 4 negates. And obviously I have some decent follow-up, give or take. So I have the Imperm, I'm going to have the Baron, I'm going to have Borlord Savage Dragon, and then also I'm going to have Herald. Now, Herald's actually a little better than you might think, because I'm thinking if you're playing against Virtual World and they go to use any of their effects, those cards are banished instead. So kind of a big difference. Now, I usually put these in defense position because of Lightning Storm, but I don't know. I'm kind of leaning back on that. No one really plays Lightning Storm in the TCG, so I don't think, like, you might as well just give yourself extra attack so they can't easily get over it. Now, 2,500 is kind of that weird in-between spot, but yeah. And this is like one of those duels I can show you for a great example of why Herald of Arclight's actually really cool. And it's actually cool for multiple reasons. Another great engine in this deck. You don't really use the draw engine too much, but it's an extender. Because it plus a hand trap is also the Halq combo, funny enough. Crossout Designator obviously is quite good here. It's going to make sure I can actually survive this turn. But when Herald's sent to the graveyard, it lets you search out Illusion of Chaos, I think it's called. The ritual card that I just used there, or I sent to the graveyard, it actually searches that out. So it gives you a +1 during your opponent's turn, which is kind of cool. And also, Magician Souls is just pretty good. Every once in a while, you will have rogue spells and traps that you want to use. But here we go. So he's going to top deck a Poly, and I'm not going to negate this because he's going to be forced to banish 3 cards from his hand, which he probably doesn't want to do. And that's kind of what I was talking about when I said I don't really want to, like, I'm thinking about putting these into attack position, because obviously I do have the negate for Lightning Storm. You know, you don't technically want to use it because it still gives them 4 other cards. You have 2 disruptions, maybe 3. So, again, it's pretty iffy. This is all, this is Metal Foes, kind of interesting. And here, basically, what it comes down to when it comes to product prosperity is if you don't have the ice barrier stuff in your hand, which is pretty decent, this is the ice barrier package. So if you don't have like one of those pieces, like you need two, you can just go ahead and banish it and find your play starter, which I do here with the Foxy tune, which is kind of cool. And then the Xiamen can search, and then I can just make my plays. Backed up with Crossout Designator, didn't need it in this case, but why not? I've done this combo so many times, and really this is like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure this is like the best version of the Ice Barrier deck. I know I haven't really used any Ice Barrier cards, but that was kind of the basis of all of this. But there is, like, when it comes to Ice Barrier, there still is one mega MVP in this deck, and that is the new Trishula. Man, this card is seriously so underrated. Being able to banish, I think it targets, but maybe, let me read it one more time. I say that. No, it's non-targeting banishment of 3 cards. Like, that is so good. And like I said, there's that cool +1 with Illusion of Chaos there. And Crossout Designator is also really cool because you're playing a lot of cards that your opponents are playing, especially when you start playing a pile deck. Because he is going to go ahead and search out with Prep the Illusion of Chaos. So he's going to go ahead and plus a bunch here, but obviously I know what he's searching out there. So him not being able to go into basically anything at this point because Magician Souls is so important in that deck, I'm going to be able to do some pretty cool stuff. Combination doesn't do anything at all. I can go ahead and special summon this. It's a level 1, which can make a big difference. And there we go. I'm going to +2. I still have the Boral counter on there. And here's the new Trishula. I think I use it quite a bunch. So he doesn't have any pendulum scales, which is pretty tough on him. I'm going to be able to, I think, pop that back row with Mecha Phantom Beast or Aurodon, which is pretty neat. And this is either game or very close. I do have the negate there. I still have one. I don't think I have any Boral counters there, but he's going to try to use Illusion of Chaos one more time. He did top deck Magician Souls, but I do have the negate for it. But he doesn't have any spells and traps anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Shout out to Trishula 0, Jacking of the Ice Barrier. This card is absolutely nuts. This is Adignister. Cut 3 hand traps here. Don't really know what he has planned. I do banish this kind of random package. I have an extra Halq in here. I'm hoping maybe that I'd find, the other Ice Barrier monster, because there's a really cool combo, with, what's it called? Bahamut Shark. So didn't happen. He tries to go for the Imperm there, so the Ash, he ashed on the Punk monster, which kind of signals he should have just held it, because that's a lot of confidence. I guess if you have 2 more hand traps, you do, but it's just such a random thing. So he's going to go ahead and use his 3rd hand trap there. Surprising, this deck is quite resilient depending on when your opponent uses their interruption. Because I think I'm going to be able to at least get 1 interruption out of this, or yeah. Which he only has 3 cards left, so I have to feel pretty comfortable about that. He's going to search out his play starter, use it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, there's no way he has any extenders, right? Then I can go ahead and search here, meaning that Dark Rule No More is going to be quite useful as a +1 after I search the Magician's Souls. Plague Spreader Zombie off the top would have been pretty interesting. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool duel when it came to, all that. This is the other duel I had against it, and I run 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. I play a lot of like really high impact going second cards. If your opponent has Scythe and they use DP in the standby phase, you're just gonna lose anyways. That's an auto win for so many people. So this deck is no different. If your opponent has Scythe, you're done for. Now, if it's a bunch of negates, of course, no problem. We'll see what ends up happening here. I don't have Nibiru, and I think I tried to use it game 1, but Dark Rono Moore is obviously a little better here. I don't think he produces anything in the back row that I have to worry about necessarily. And he does search out the new Odd Eyes Pendulum, which negates spell cards, but unfortunately Dark Ruler, or I should say unfortunately for him, he can't respond to it. So he's going to get a big Pendulum Summon here. Pretty cool that you can Pendulum Summon a Ritual Monster. Never thought I'd see the day. He's going to go for Metal Foes, so lots of negates. 3 I'm counting here. I think he's going to try to bring back... let's see. Oh, he brings back the Mystical Beast, so that's kind of cool, I suppose. And that's just at the end phase. I don't know if this has any counters on it, though. But okay, I'm going to go ahead and go for Dark Rule No More here. I know he has 1 Fusion Summon in his deck, so we'll see when he ends up using it, or when he does, or if it does anything. But I do have full combo here. Now, I'm thinking in my head I'm going to be able to discard that last card, but that's just not going to happen. So he does go for the Parametalful's Azortulus. He doesn't do anything, though. This card is special summon from the extra deck. You can target one card your opponent controls, shuffle two face-up pendulum monsters from your extra deck, because he only has one. That's why I couldn't use the effect, so kind of unfortunate for him, I guess. But I'm going to be able to go full combo there. So the Dark World No More, obviously, was the difference between being able to play in this duel and not. But that's why you play cards like that, I suppose. I do run it at 3. Trishula once again coming in massively clutch. This card is so awesome. So he's not going to be able to fusion summon during his turn. I'm going to be able to pop his board. I can go ahead and use the Foxy Tune just to give myself the trap for that next turn. Doesn't have access to essentially anything at all. Now I don't have damage, but he has 1-2 cards in hand. And I do still have an all-important negate. So I'm going to go ahead and negate here so he can't use the effect because he doesn't have the 2 face-up pendulums. And then I can go ahead and negate Pendulum XYZ, meaning he can't really do anything, which is pretty cool. So again, the new Trishula, giving yourself like a +3 in card advantage usually means you're going to win. I think I have like 4 more duels here. Kind of interesting. He's going to go ahead and set 1 and pass. Not the best opening, of course, but, you know, E-Telly is so good. He ashes the Z-Om, and it's like, I just don't think that's the right choice. I guess he did have Phantasme, so he's like, if I go into Halq, maybe he'll draw into something, but doesn't get really anything at all. Because I'm going to be able to full combo. I think this is one of the duels where there's one duel where I kind of like sometimes you can make Halq without even normal summoning, which is kind of nuts, and then you kind of would think there's follow-up, but there really isn't room for that to happen, especially when Herald hits the board. That's what makes things really hairy to like go further beyond. Not that this board is bad at all, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pop. I really should have tried to pop his face down, truthfully, but I don't, because I don't think I leave enough for lethal. Although it would have been really close. I think maybe Revealer would have put me over the top. And this is against just another random deck here. Oh, I guess it's the other game I had against Adagnister. He may have just straight up scooped, which is kind of interesting to see if it would have played out. But this may be the duel where I try to like go, I can extend all the way, and then but Herald has that effect, and it's not just for your opponent. That macro effect from deck in hand is actually like for you too. But I think I still put up 3 negate, so obviously not too shabby. This combo I feel like has been around for like 20 years now. It'll be interesting to see like in the next ban list, you know, what gets touched from this idea, like the Halq idea that has enabled a lot of stuff. Hopefully it's not Halq TBH, because I kind of like that card. And normally this is like a really cool, but yeah, these all get banished, so it doesn't really do anything. And I don't have a 5, like a Synchro 5 I can go into. But it still wasn't enough, because I can just negate the field spell from happening over and over again. I did have a Forbidden Droplets too, mostly like a cross out target, but you know, there it also kind of served its purpose. This is a Dogmatica deck, so this is obviously very, very good. And this is really where Magician's Souls shines. Like you wouldn't believe. Like that's just crazy to me. That Magician's Souls acted just as a Halq extender, and that's really what it's for. Because a lot of the times your opponent may try to, you know, negate that normal summon, leaving one monster on the board. An Illusion of Chaos, you know, gives you access to that. Illusion of Chaos can put back Mecha Phantom Beast or Rorodon, because I'm pretty sure that's really the only true brick of the deck. Again, considering whether or not the right decision here is to, you know, put this into attack or defense position, it's just kind of iffy. But this is like the standard combo. Now, normally I would have been able to discard 2 cards from his hand, but wasn't the case there, because he did negate or infinite impermanence my monster. And this is where Plague Spreader really comes in handy. I think this ends up being a little weird, because I probably should have just normal summoned Plague Spreader and gone along my day. But I did have to include Plague Spreader so I can put that back into the deck. But this obviously messes up my zones pretty badly. Not like initially, but certainly when I get to this point now, like I need all of those zones, right? Because I'm going to be able to go into, you know, the Cult Wing, but I can't bring back Despot 001, which certainly messes things up quite a bit. Okay, so I'm going to be able to get at least one negate here, and we'll see what else I can make of this. Okay, so I might as well go into Penguin Brave. I haven't really showcased this quite yet, but this is like my favorite card in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Penguin Soldier, truthfully, is pretty good. Now, he does hit Super Poly, which kind of sucks because... well, I lost one of my negates, and you know the Starving Venom obviously is also going to be able to get over this Penguin Brave, so I can't use Penguin Soldier during his churn. But this is in main phase 2, so that's not really too worrisome. Doesn't control a numbered XYZ monster, so I can go ahead and flip those two back into the deck. So Penguin Soldier is still quite a very good card, no doubt about that. And he did end up scooping there, which is kind of funny. So lots of different engines in there. It's really like a synchro engine. Again, I think it's kind of like base 2. Maybe the best way to describe it. Maybe something else. It's just a pile deck. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.